Hello, everyone, and welcome to the third and final video on revenue management. This is the third and the final video in the series. I hope you have seen the first two. If not, I would suggest that you do. It will take you less than an hour or maybe just 1 hour, 5 minutes to watch all three. But it will get revenue management concepts and the foundation absolutely clear. So I'm Dr. Samir Divanji from AISSMS College of Hotel Management. Let's do a quick recap and see what we are going to cover today. So we looked how revenue management started with the airline industry and then came to other industries, including hotel industry. So remember, we were going to Maldives or were you going to Bali? And we were wondering if everybody's paying the same airfare. So we've looked at the origins, concept, benefit, importance. We also looked at the very important angle of ARR and RevPar. ARR gives us a one-dimensional view. If even if 10 rooms are occupied, even if the ARR is 10,000, it doesn't tell you much. But in a 50-room hotel, the remaining 40 rooms are vacant. But the RevPar gives you the ARR and the occupancy percentage. So it's a more valid statistic and used extensively in revenue management. Today, revenue management covers all departments in a hotel and other industries, of course. So in F&B service, for instance, you look at APCs. In banquets, you look at revenue per square foot. In kitchen, of course, there's yield management. So every area, every department, uh, revenue management and yield management is covered, and it's very important. That's why today it's a specialized field. There are experts, and you have director revenue management in most of the leading hotel chains. We looked at elements of revenue management where we looked at group room sales, transient, that is non-group room sales, food and beverage activity, and special events. We looked at high demand tactics, and now we also going to start this uh, session with low demand tactics. So what did we also see? We gave a very simple definition of revenue management. We said it is basically a technique to maximize revenues. Yeah. So maximizing revenues, whatever the potential is of the place, you maximize it. You reach its potential. Tool to compare potential revenue as a standard against the actual revenue. This colorful slide, if you remember from the presentation video number 2, we spoke about special events and festivals. Remember? So hoteliers use extensive techniques for revenue management during festive seasons. Again, it depends what kind of a hotel. If you're a resort or a holiday place, obviously it's a high demand period. If it's a business hotel, it's a shoulder or even a valley period. We looked at high demand tactics. We saw during high demand, what all do we look at? We restrict discounts. We apply minimum length of stay. So you cannot stay for one night. You have to stay for 2 nights or 3 nights. We reduce group allocations because groups tend to pay you lesser. They negotiate more because it's a bulk booking, and you encourage more FITs. Reduce or eliminate 6 p.m. holds. We spoke about it. Tighten guarantee and cancellation policies. So we don't want no shows. We don't want cancellations. You want 100% full house with good ARR and RevPar, of course. Raise rates as consistent with competitors. Consider a rate increase for packages. Apply rack rates to higher category of rooms like executive rooms and suites. Select dates that are closed to arrivals. Apply deposits, guarantees for last night. What happens is after a guest is booked for 4 nights, but after the third day, he says, "Fine, we are checking out." So the last night sometimes can calculation can go for a toss. Let's look at low demand tactics now. Low demand tactics, we exactly the opposite of high demand tactics. So we sell value and benefits. All right. Every hotel has different features and facilities. So a hotel could be having an award-winning spa, or it could have a beautiful health club, which is also open to others, or it could have a shopping arcade and various other facilities. Offer packages and special offers. Keep discount categories like advanced purchase rates, corporate rates open. So it's exactly what you don't do during high, you do during low, and vice versa. Encourage upgrades. If you upgrade your regulars, you not only make them happy, you also open up your lower category rooms, or the base category as we say, for selling, and that's easier to sell than expensive rooms. Offer stay sensitive price incentives. So a lot of incentives, a lot of packages, a lot of special rates, etc. Remove stay restrictions. One night, no problem, not necessarily 3 nights. Establish relationship with competitors to know what's happening and how you can leverage each other's strengths. Lower rates to attract more guests and to generate more revenue. Now here again, we don't want to be known as a discount hotel, so you have to be very careful on how you go about discounting also, not ad hoc but very, very systematic. All right, then we come to implementing revenue strategies. Here you have these 4 tactics that we will look in brief, and these are hurdle rate, sorry, hurdle rate, minimum length of stay, close to arrival, and sell through. So these are some of the tactics that hotels use very successfully for revenue management. All right, let's look at the first one, hurdle rate. In the context of revenue management, the lowest acceptable room rate for a given date. As you can see in that picture, you've, I'm sure, done hurdle race in school. So here it's the bare minimum basic rate that you cannot go below. So that's hurdle rate. So yes, you discount, but not ad hoc. As I said, you know what's the best available rate or the hurdle rate for that day. All right, it's a pre-decided decision of the management. So that's hurdle rate is what you do. Minimum length of stay, we've spoken about it a bit earlier. This strategy requires that a reservation must be made for at least a specific number of or specified number of nights to be accepted. Typically, if a guest, think Christmas, think New Year, you don't want only one peak day, that is 31st. You want guests to check in earlier, 2 days earlier. So 3 nighter is probably the minimum requirement. So the use of minimum length of stay requirement is intended to keep an occupancy peak on one day from reducing occupancy on the days before and after the peak. So you're making use of that peak. The 31st is a peak, or a 25th December is a peak. So when you say minimum length of stay, you know that the guest is definitely going to stay for 3 nights, for example. Also, here you can offer so much more to the guests. I know a resort that I tried booking one night because I was staying with a friend and I wanted to also experience this resort in this beautiful location. But they said, sir, minimum anytime in the year you come, it's a minimum 2 days or 3 days that you can stay with us. You cannot check in for one day. That was the concept of the whole thing. Anyway, caution here is if you are too strict with this strategy, some profitable guests who don't want to stay, they don't want, it's not the money, but it's they don't have that kind of time. So they may take their business elsewhere. So you have to be careful on how you implement it, but it's a strategy that works very well. Close to arrival, a close to arrival strategy allows reservations to be taken for a certain date as long as the guest arrives before that date. So again here, if you know that today is that day is going to be a very busy day with so many check-ins, I close that date for arrivals. I say no more check-ins on the 20th of February, say. So that means I can accept arrivals who are coming on 19th or 21st, but on 20th you cannot. So if you have a reservation inquiry for arriving on 20th, you'll have to say, I'm sorry, for that day we are sold out. However, I can adjust if your travel plans are flexible, and you can check in on the 19th or 21st of February. So this also takes off the additional strain on the front desk and related departments. Additional arrivals on the peak arrival date will not be accepted under this strategy. Sell through, again, it's like the minimum length of stay, except that the required stay can begin before the date the strategy is applied. So here, I know it sounds a little confusing. So for example, if a 3-night sell through is applied on Wednesday, the sell through applies on arrivals on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So they have to stay for 3 nights minimum. So it goes hand in hand with minimum length of stay. Sell through. So this week or this entire Diwali week, say, if it's busy, then in a Mahabaleshwar or in a hill station, any other hill station, then you apply the sell through along with minimum length of stay, and they can arrive on these days and also choose to be staying for a minimum of 3 nights. Hotels use the sell through strategy as a technique to overbook the peak day. All right, again, you are trying to maximize revenues here.
We've heard a lot about the impact of the economic downturn on the hospitality and gaming industry, particularly in the area of pricing. What will the impact of discounting be on these industries in the months and years to come? Why don't you start us off, Kathy?
Great. Let me start by telling you what we already know. One of the things we've done, and we've done a series of studies to explore what's the link between trying to generate increased occupancy as a result of dropping rate. And one of the things we have consistently found is that while we're trying to generate incremental demand by dropping rate, it doesn't happen that way. Ultimately what happens is that as the rates go down, the RevPar also goes down, which basically means that we have inelastic demand. So one of the things we've started to observe is that discounting does not work. I mean, that's the main message of the past. That doesn't mean we can't discount. It means that how we think about discounting, the ways in which we discount for what kinds of customers, needs to be carefully reconsidered. So as we head forward, and I think the rest of the panel is going to have some specific nuances, as we head forward, we have to help the industry understand that discounting only steals share, and it's only temporary because the competition responds by discounting, and we have a lose-lose strategy.
Dwayne, your thoughts on this?
Well, obviously, with STR, we work a lot with looking at historical data, and where have we seen this before? Have we seen this happen before? And what's different now, what we're seeing now from what we saw before? And we saw this in the last downturn. It's almost the same month that demand went negative, rates started to fall. Same month it happened. And same thing has happened again with this downturn. As soon as demand went negative, not the fall of demand when it started tapering, but when it actually went negative is when we begin to see those rates begin to fall. Okay, and of course it's what is the actual impact on the industry? It's going to be a long-term impact, and it's as Kathy has said, you need to, rather than just carte blanche discounting, you need to really look at all the little nuances in there, and who are you discounting, and targeted discounting. We're not anti-discounting. We're do it smartly. Be smart with it. It took last time it took 6 full years for us to recover rates. Looking at annual average inflation rates, if you apply those, it would take 6 full years to get rates back to where they should be. With the deeper discounting in many cases we're seeing now, it could take longer than that before we really get back to where we normally would be under normal conditions if this had never happened. Just be smart with the discounting. That's the biggest message I think I have for them.
Radhika, did you want to build upon this?
Yeah, I'm an optimist. Okay, so I think there are lessons that we are going to learn quite a bit. So right now the economic pressures are going to have caused us to work smarter, do smarter things, learn to gather the right data, make the right investment in technology to make the right decisions out of this data, and then be able to deploy them across the enterprise. So whatever you learn today about making the right offer to the right customer at the right time and place, all of that is going to be valuable even when we go forward. So what we learn today will be very valuable. And I'm hoping that everybody will recognize, I'm one who believes in breaking down silos and having people integrate across departments. So the revenue manager and marketer will start talking much more because of the economic pressures. Because if you look at the phrase, the right offer at the right price at the right time and right place, I would add all four of them, then the right price is owned by a revenue manager. The right customer to offer that price to is owned by the marketer. But in order to get the right time and place, you need to have both of them working together. Without that, that's not going to happen. So whatever we learn today should definitely improve the economic outlook, will add to the improvements as we go forward.
James, you get the final word on this.
What can I say? Well, I think I'd like to take a little bit from everything that people have said. I think that discounting's happened in the past, discounting happens today, and it's going to happen in the future. So what we need to do is to build fences around that discounting to make sure that we're really smart in the way that we do it, and we don't discount from the hip by just dropping prices without really thinking systematically about what it actually means for today, tomorrow, and for the longer term. When you discount to your leisure business, it has impacts on your contracted business, on your group business as well. So how do we know what to do? Well, I think that that's where data comes into play, and we really, really need to make concentrated efforts to make sure that we capture the right information so that we can really understand how different dynamics drive different types of demand. That will help us build smarter fences that we can change maybe more quickly, because really when you discount, you want to be able to turn the discount on and you want to be able to turn the discount off. And the same switch does not apply to all discounts at all times in all places, etc. So I think it comes down to smart use of data to make sure that discounting drives revenue and profit, not just drives you nuts.
Great. I hope you enjoyed the video. We just dived straight into it, but I thought it's relevant. It's a small snippet. It talks about smart discounting. It talks about discounting the right segment and not everyone, seeing the value in it. It also talks about data, how important data is before you can take any revenue management decisions. It talks about use of technology, which will help us take decisions. Technology also gives us more data in a more organized manner. So you should all, as budding hoteliers, understand the importance of data, technology that enables data to be organized, and the entire concept of revenue management. Yeah. So I hope it sort of helps you understand it more holistically, and how discounting and how revenue management helps the entire hotel or industry. You saw people from tourism and Cornell University, educationists, etc. on that panel. Also, I would like to add here a very important point that one panelist said, that let us not work in silos or departments. We need to come together and work. So all departments in a hotel need to work together and present it as a strategy of the hotel and not for their department. All right, so we looked at revenue management, we looked at the elements, high and low demand tactics, and we looked at the four strategies, that is hurdle rate, minimum length of stay, close to arrival, and sell through. So I hope you're much more aware of revenue management than you were at the beginning of the 3 videos, and you enjoyed your session experience. Thank you. And there's a quiz, as I said, at the end of this session. For that, you need to see all the 3 parts. Then you will be able to attempt this quiz. It's a simple quiz. Do attempt it, and happy reading more on revenue management. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. And most importantly, your commitment to be an excellent hotelier. Have a good day ahead and happy learning. Thank you.